In this video, I'm going to be covering how to bake ciabatta loaves. But before, I want you to take a look at these. These are baked to a darker color, and these are ciabatta bowls, 12 ounces, 3/4 of a pound. There you can see the result of slitting the bread, and you got a nice crust in. Hollow sound. If you ever take your bread out of the oven, you tap the back and it has a wet sound. It's not done. It's got to have a hollow drum sound. So, first thing you want to do is you want to put down a light dusting of flour. I'm using this for the sake of the tutorial. Normally I would just grab a pinch of flour and flick. Now here's the ciabatta that I have. In the previous video I showed how I formed it, and I put it upside down in a fermentation basket. By the way, if you don't want to invest in fermentation baskets for your regular loaf of bread, like this 5 Kings, then it doesn't matter. You can just put them on a pan or on the counter. But you see how these baskets form this? This dough is actually a little bit overproofed from what I would like. So I have to be very, very careful to not deflate it. There we go. Okay. I'm gonna grab a piece of ice for the oven. Now these are normal loaves, so I want to go with the 12 ounces of ice. It's very fortuitous that I'm using a new razor blade. Again, you want to grab it, whatever hand you're using. I'm left-handed. You want to grab it in the middle. And now you do not, I'm going to do 4 cuts from here over to a corner, 1, 2, 3, and then from that corner over. The ideal cut is not a straight line, it's an S, more like the Greek letter sigma. The way you do that is I'll exaggerate it. I'm going like that. This sigma-shaped cut will allow for a better expansion of the bread. Just get a little bit of flour on the thing, and then one at a time. Notice that I angle it on there. I'm going to go over to the oven. And I'm placing it right on the stone, which I'll talk about shortly. I do have to get these in the oven as quickly as possible. And I take the ice out of the warm water and throw it on the cast iron pan. Then I'm going to set my timer. The oven's set at 450. Set the timer for 30 minutes. I want to talk about the stone, what I'm referring to as the stone in the oven. It is actually a pizza stone. It's rectangular. It fits exactly the dimensions of the oven with around 5 centimeters, 2 inches all the way around, front, back, left side, right side. The reason that you don't want the stone to go all the way to the walls, the front and the back, is because you need the heat to circulate up from the bottom. In the past, before I discovered this particular pizza stone, which looks like it's made out of clay or some kind of ceramic, I had a custom made granite stone. You cannot use marble. Marble will disintegrate from the heat, but granite works fine. The problem with the granite stone was it took a minimum of an hour to heat up, but once it heated up, it had a tremendous amount of caloric energy to push into the loaf from the bottom, so you got a nice hard crust on the bottom, not burnt, but substantially baked. But when I found this pizza stone, this rectangular pizza stone, I believe I bought it on Amazon. It allows me to bake 4 loaves placed diagonally on the stone, 4 at a time. If, like in the case of here, I have the batch turned out to be 9 loaves. I have 4 here, and I have 5. These 5, what I will do when it comes time to bake them is I will place them very, very tight together. Sometimes when they expand up, they will touch each other, and that's what you do. So they will be on that stone like this. There'll be 3 slightly angled. It's more actually like this. And then there will be 2 going across. These will actually touch because the stone isn't that big. But normally this is the configuration. Imagine that there's a pizza stone there. This is the configuration. It's like that. And I just take that's why you see me angle them on the peel, and then I can drop it and push it into place. You don't want to go like this because this limits your ability to pivot the peel. So you just want to somewhat angle like that, drop it in there. And by the way, you place, pull back. Place it, pull back, and it's a flick. You don't want to drag. You don't want to go like this, and you're trying to shake the thing off. You go like that and flick it back. Same thing when you go to take the bread out. You'll flick the peel under the loaf. So there you have that. Oh, one thing I wanted to say, if you do not want to work with a pizza stone, you don't have to. By any stretch of the imagination, here's what you can do. Concomitantly, if you don't want to work with the pizza stone or fermentation baskets at all. You're used to using sheet pans. I would really encourage you to get away from the loaves unless you wanted that look. It's definitely a sort of 50s retro look. But after, imagine that I've just formed this up, I can go ahead and put them like that. They'll be perfectly fine. The fermentation basket will make a better shaped loaf, but it's not necessary by any stretch of the imagination. So there you go. You can just put it straight on a pan. The disadvantage of baking on that's a half sheet pan, by the way. A full sheet pan does not fit in a standard home oven. At least not in the United States. If you had a commercial oven, like say a Blodgett brand or Hobart or whomever, you could, on a standard commercial baking sheet, you can go 4 loaves. But besides the pizza stone, baking on the stone, the advantage that it gives me is I can bake 4. In a pinch, I can bake 5 loaves every half hour. 4 loaves for sure, every half hour instead of 2. So working with the stove, with the peel, the stone in the oven and the homemade steam generator, the cast iron pan with the block of ice, and this technique is as old as people have been eating bread. Stone oven, wood fired, and the dough goes onto a peel, flicked into the oven, and taken out when it's done. Speaking of wood ovens, I have one. It's made in Italy. It's outside, of course. It's a Gemigiani, I believe it's pronounced. And it's got the classic half dome, and it goes back about 1.5 meters. I would say 5 feet. The dome is stainless steel, and then there's a ceramic stone floor that's suspended. And the reason for that is because below that stone, about that far down, is a firebox, and it takes an hour to heat the oven. And it took me, I guess, about a month before I finally figured out just how much wood, not to get the thing going, but to maintain it so that it didn't turn the bread into charcoal in a half an hour. That was quite a challenge. But I finally got it down to where I get my coals, get my bed of coals, and then I just put one stick of wood every hour. And that maintains around a 400, again Fahrenheit, 450 to 470 degree temperature. And I have not used, I used to do a farmer's market where I sold, we were talking 8 years ago, before bread came under such tremendous attack. I used to sell at a farmer's market, and there were 2 other bakers there. But I've sold 100 loaves of bread and around 20 baguettes. And I would put them in that oven. The great thing about that oven is that it will bake 12 loaves. I could do all of this. Say that there were bread in here. I could do all of this in one pop. And it's got the peel is kind of cool. It's the length. It's about 8 feet long. And I just line the breads up on there and I flick them off onto the stone floor, and half an hour later, just have incredible crust on that one too. The oven has a very tight seal on it, so it keeps its moisture in and does a fantastic job on that bake. I'm going to pause the video, and when this bread is out, you're going to see a work of art. Thank you for watching.